I want you to picture two people living in the same city. Same job title, same salary, exactly $72,000 a year. The first person drives a leased BMW with a $652 monthly payment. They wear nice clothes, eat out 4 nights a week. Their apartment is in the best part of town. And every single month they are completely out of money. Not just tight, actually out. The second person drives a 5-year-old Honda they own outright. They cook most nights. Their apartment is modest. And every month they invest $1,900 without even thinking about it. In 10 years, the first person has a nice Instagram feed. The second person has $280,000 quietly growing in the background. Same income, completely different financial reality. The difference is not discipline or intelligence or luck. It is a set of rules the second person follows that the first person was never taught. And today I am going to give you every single one of them. My name is Joey. I study how ordinary people build real wealth on normal incomes. Subscribe and like this video right now before we get into it, because these rules will change the way you make every financial decision going forward. Let me start by naming the real enemy here. It is not low income. It is not inflation. It is not bad luck. The real enemy is something called lifestyle inflation. Here is how it works. You get a raise. Your expenses immediately rise to match it. You get a bonus. You upgrade something that did not need upgrading. You earn more, but somehow you never have more. This is the broke trap, and it does not care how much you earn. Lifestyle inflation is why people making $120,000 a year feel broke. It is why doctors and lawyers file for bankruptcy at alarming rates. It is why the gap between earning money and building wealth can be enormous. The minimalist money rules exist for one single purpose: to permanently break the connection between earning more and spending more. Because the moment you break that connection, everything changes. Let me give you the first rule right now. Rule 1. Own your fixed costs like your life depends on it. Your fixed costs are your rent or mortgage, your car, your insurance. These are the expenses that repeat every single month, no matter what. And here's the thing most people get completely backwards. Most people size their fixed costs based on what they can technically afford. The bank says you qualify for a $450,000 mortgage, so you buy it. The dealer says you can afford $600 a month in payments, so you sign. And suddenly, 70% of your income is locked up before the month even starts. The minimalist rule is completely different. Your fixed costs should never exceed 50% of your take-home pay. Not 60, not 65. 50% and lower is always better. When your fixed costs are lean, every raise you get is actually yours. When your fixed costs are bloated, every raise disappears before you touch it. This one rule alone separates people who build wealth from people who just earn it. Rule 2. Never upgrade what already works. This one sounds obvious. Almost nobody actually follows it. Your phone makes calls and runs every app you use daily. It works. That is the only standard that should matter. Your car gets you to work reliably without breaking down. It works. Keep it. Your couch is comfortable. Your TV is watchable. They work. Do not touch them. The upgrade culture we live in is extremely expensive and completely engineered. Companies release new versions of things every single year on purpose, not because the old version stopped working, because they need you to feel like it did. A 2021 study found the average American replaces their smartphone every 2.5 years. Over a lifetime, that is $40,000 to $60,000 spent on perfectly good technology being replaced. The minimalist rule is ruthlessly simple here. Replace things when they fail, not when something newer exists. Every time you fight the urge to upgrade something that works, you win. And that win compounds directly into your retirement account. Still with me? Good, because the next rule is the one that changes the math fastest. Rule 3. Automate your wealth before you touch a single dollar. Here is what most people do with their paycheck. It hits the account. They pay bills. They buy things. They see what is left. Whatever survives gets saved, which is usually almost nothing. This is called paying yourself last, and it is why most people retire with almost nothing. The minimalist approach flips the entire sequence completely around. The moment your paycheck arrives, a fixed amount moves automatically into investments. Before groceries, before gas, before anything, you live on what remains, not on what you feel like saving. This is called paying yourself first. and it is the single most powerful wealth habit that exists. The research on this is not even close. People who automate investing save 3 times more over a lifetime. Not because they are more disciplined, because they remove the decision entirely from the equation. You cannot spend money that moved before you saw it. Start with whatever you can. Even $100 a month is the right starting point. Then increase it by $50 every time your income goes up. Your lifestyle never notices the increase because it never had that money to begin with. If you are getting value from this, drop a comment with which rule hits hardest for you. And keep watching, because the next 2 rules are where most people's wealth actually lives or dies. Rule 4. The 24-hour rule on everything non-essential. Here is something most people do not realize about their spending. The majority of financial damage happens in small, impulsive, unplanned moments. You're bored. You open an app. Something looks good. You buy it. You walk past a store. Something catches your eye. You go in. You see an ad 4 times. On the 5th time, you click purchase. None of those moments felt like major financial decisions, but added up over a month, they consistently drain $200 to $500 without a trace. The 24-hour rule is devastatingly simple and devastatingly effective. Before buying anything that is not food, bills, or fuel, you wait 24 hours. That is the entire rule. If you still want it the next day, you can consider buying it. If you forgot about it, and you will forget about 70% of them, you save that money. Studies on impulse buying show that 85% of unplanned purchases are regretted within 48 hours. The 24-hour pause does not require willpower. It just requires a short delay between feeling and acting. And that short delay is worth thousands of dollars a year. Rule 5. Measure every purchase in hours, not dollars. This rule will permanently rewire how you see money. I am not exaggerating. Take your hourly wage after taxes. For most Americans, that is somewhere between $15 and $35 an hour. Now, before every non-essential purchase, convert the price into hours of your life. That 180 dinner out, at $25 an hour after tax, that is 7.2 hours of your life. That $400 pair of shoes, that is 16 hours you traded your time for. That $1,200 phone upgrade, that is 48 hours over a full work week gone. Suddenly, the question is not, can I afford this? The question becomes, is this thing worth that many hours of my life? Most things do not survive that question. The ones that do are genuinely worth having, and the ones that do not, you just saved real money on something you would have regretted anyway. This single mental shift will change your relationship with spending permanently, not by making you cheap, by making you intentional. Rule 6. Own less, but own better. Most people fall into one of 2 traps. They either buy cheap things constantly that break and need replacing, or they buy expensive things impulsively that pile up and never get used. Both approaches destroy wealth at a similar rate, just differently. The minimalist money rule is not about spending less on everything. It is about spending more intentionally on the right things. A $200 pair of work boots worn daily for 5 years costs $40 a year. A $40 pair worn for 4 months costs $120 a year. Cost per use is the only honest measure of value. Before any purchase, divide the price by how many times you will realistically use it. That $80 kitchen gadget you will use twice a year costs $40 per use. That $300 chef's knife you use 5 times a week costs less than $2 per use. The expensive thing is often cheaper. The cheap thing is often expensive. Own fewer things. Own things that earn their cost per use. And stop filling space with things that exist purely because they were on sale. Rule 7. Protect your biggest financial asset ferociously. And your biggest financial asset is not your investment account. It is not your house. It is not your savings. Your biggest financial asset is your income. Everything you are building financially depends entirely on that income continuing. And yet most people protect it with almost nothing. No emergency fund means one job loss destroys everything you built. No disability insurance means one health event ends your entire financial life. No skills investment means your income stagnates while your costs keep rising. The minimalist rule here is threefold and non-negotiable. First, build a 3-month emergency fund before you invest anything else. Not 1 month, not 2 months, 3 full months of expenses in cash. This fund does not earn great returns, and that is completely fine. It is not an investment. It is insurance for everything else you are building. Second, invest in your skills every single year without exception. One course, one certification, one relevant book per month. People who keep developing skills earn more. Full stop. The data is clear. Third, never let your income depend entirely on a single source. One extra skill, one small side project, one rental, one freelance client. Not to get rich overnight, just to make sure one bad week does not erase everything. Income protection is the foundation that every other rule builds on. Rule 8: define what enough actually means for you right now. This is the rule that almost nobody ever sits down and does, and it might be the most important one on this entire list. Most people spend their entire financial lives running toward a number they never defined. More income, bigger house, nicer car, better vacations. But they never stopped and asked, when is it enough? And without that definition, enough never arrives. Because lifestyle inflation always moves the goalpost one step ahead. The minimalist approach requires you to define your enough number deliberately. What monthly income would let you live comfortably and feel genuinely secure? What house size is actually sufficient for your real life, not your imagined life? What car reliably gets you where you need to go without financial stress? Write those numbers down. Be honest. Be specific. Now, calculate exactly what it takes to reach them. Once you hit those numbers, you stop scaling your lifestyle and start building freedom. That is when wealth actually starts accumulating at a serious pace, because the gap between what you earn and what you spend is the only number that truly matters. Wide gap, you build wealth. Narrow gap, you stay stuck. Every one of these rules exists to widen that gap permanently. Let me give you the final number before we close. The average American household earns $74,000 a year over their working life. Over a 40-year career, that is nearly $3 million in total earned income. The average American retires with $87,000 saved. That means the average person earned $3 million and kept less than 3% of it, 3%. The rest went to things they mostly cannot remember buying. It went to lifestyle inflation and upgraded things that already worked. It went to impulse purchases that lost their appeal within a week. It went to subscriptions, payments, premiums, and fees that nobody ever audited, not because those people were irresponsible or careless or bad with money, because nobody gave them these rules. Nobody explained the trap clearly. And they stayed inside it for 40 years without ever realizing there was a way out. You now have the rules. Every single one. Fixed costs under 50%. Never upgrade what works. Automate before you touch a dollar. Wait 24 hours on everything. Measure in hours, not dollars. Own fewer but better things. Protect your income like your future depends on it, because it does. And define what enough means before lifestyle inflation defines it for you. These are not complicated strategies or secret investment techniques. They are just clear rules that most people were never handed. And every week you apply them, the gap between you and financial freedom gets smaller. Your future self is not going to care what phone you had at 32. They are going to care deeply about what you did with the money instead. Start this week, not next month. This week. Pick the one rule from this list that hits closest to home. Apply it today. Then add another one next week. That is how this works. One decision, one rule, 1 week at a time. If this video gave you something real, smash the like button right now. Subscribe, because next week I am covering the one that makes people genuinely angry. How health insurance is robbing 80% of Americans and nobody is talking about it. Not the premiums, not the deductibles. The hidden mechanism most people never see. Share this with one person stuck in the broke trap right now. Because the only difference between stuck and free is information. And they deserve to have it. I will see you in the next